What's happening, guys and girls? Acrinator here, and welcome to the 19th episode of the Counting Pixelated Sheep podcast. Damn, 19 episodes. I say like damn X amount of episodes every single time, but it's just crazy that we've not canceled it by this point. Anyways, I am joined by my partner in crime and co-host for this podcast, Sirjohnmac I.
This is the longest I've stuck with anything.
Oh, well, you named it, so literally. And today, the articles that we have for you are as follows. Blizzard Entertainment comes up with a new way to break ties in Overwatch, at least in competitive mode, and Australian Senator stands up for Outlast 2 against their gaming classification board. So with that being said, let's get straight into the first article, which was the Blizzard Overwatch tie thing. Now, disclaimer, from what I understand, this is just in competitive mode, because I don't think this would work quite as well in, normal, like quick play, because you have too many people leaving after every match, aka me. I don't like playing with the same people twice. The outcome's usually going to be the same, like whoever dominated the first time is going to dominate the second time, regardless of whether the teams are switched up or not. But, and I will be reading off of my phone, mostly because my hard drive has been shitting the bed as of late. It's still good for now, but every now and then it likes to do the click of death, so I have a SSD on the way, but for now, to lessen the strain on my PC while Skype and OBS are going, I'm just going to be reading the articles off my phone. Not much to read, though. I did read them in full previously. So basically, how this happens, how this tie-breaking is going to happen is basically for example, let's take like Dorado. So you're on you and the enemy team both get to about like the second to last checkpoint, or the second to last checkpoint, and you capture 50%, and then you die, and it goes back down to 33%, and the enemy team gets to say, I don't know, 60%, and they die, and then it goes back down in their respective round, and it goes back down to 33% because they didn't hit that 2/3 thing. They would technically win because they had 60%, whereas you had 50. So it doesn't matter exactly the ending percentage, but the max percentage of the final capture. So if you get to the same point, which I can imagine in many maps, like Eichenwald, I've seen this happen a lot whenever I watch the tournaments, which I don't do very often, but every now and then I'll check like highlights and stuff, and they seem to very often get to the same point, especially if it's like two very close teams. And basically Blizzard themselves have identified this as like being a very aggressive way to tiebreak, because it's a very precise instead of, what do they even do for tiebreakers now? Is it a coin flip still, or do they I don't play competitive at all. It's that's being too serious about the game for me, that I just want to have fun with.
I actually haven't seen ties since they switched the system last time.
Yeah, apparently this is still an issue. Let me find the exact... They said it happens enough.
Yeah, I think it's possible it just goes to like a third round or something like that, or maybe I think so. A third and fourth round. Yeah, which I think can kind of get ridiculous. I think it ends at the third round if you win, if you get the payload all the way instead of like part of the way. But because if you win, then the other team can't possibly beat you. They can only tie you, which, I mean, I guess it would still be fair to give them a fourth round, but at some point you sort of have to say enough is enough. Anyone who actually plays competitive in the comments, feel free to leave that below. It's just like, I don't know. I purposefully avoid competitive. I feel like if it goes into super sudden death, it's still a coin flip though. Whereas this is a bit more precise, because it's very uncommon that you're going to get the exact percentage to 1%. Yeah. So if your team got it to 74% and then you died, and the other team got it to 70%, but they kept it there more consistently, you'd still win because you pushed harder. Which, at least according to this article, a lot of people are either liking or hating vehemently, so I can certainly see why people wouldn't like it, but I also feel like it's not a bad solution to this. It is relatively fair. I'm sure there's going to be those few odd matches that are going to suck because of this. It's like some team got jibbed because the people who played worse happened to get a lucky push. But for the most part, I think this is relatively fair. I mean, what do you think, John? I can imagine you'd probably play Overwatch more than me. I play it like once a month.
Yeah. I'm all for reducing the amount of draws. And this is certainly an effective method.
Yeah.
Even if it's trying to squash a bug with a hammer down, basically. But I don't know. I haven't played much of the. Well, I'll be honest. I haven't played any of the new PTR. But it seems like a good change.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this is what PTR is for, just to see how it pans out.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of a better solution. So, I don't know. I hope this accomplishes what they're setting out to do with it.
Okay, so it looks like right now the system is just like you don't have a tiebreaker round. It looks like you just have a draw. Like it just goes to draw and then you get partial credit.
Alright.
At least that's what I'm getting from the article. Again, if you like have more experience in competitive Overwatch, feel free to enlighten us in the comment section below. We're not in any way claiming that we're experts at really anything we talk about. Unless we do, then that's different. But we'll explicitly state that you have about a 99.9% chance that we're not going to be experts on whatever we're talking about, though. Side note, there were no fucking good articles this month whatsoever. Like, everything sucked ass. So these articles, in any other given month, I would have breezed right over these articles that we have, but, like, this was the best we had, because everything is, like, Horizon Dawn, whatever, Zero Dawn Horizon. One of those. Breath of the Wild, fucking, God, what else? Just a lot of nothing. A lot of, like, interesting little things, but, like, stuff that we couldn't have talked about more than just saying, like, hey, this happened. And then moving on.
Yeah.
Speaking of moving on, I don't really have very much else.
Me either.
Okay, let's go on to the second article, which was the Australian Outlast. Yeah.
2.
Yeah. So the thing with this is that whenever you go on YouTube and you look up like the old videos from like the early 2000s where like news programs are like video games are causing violence, blah 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 blah, they're almost always, at least the most egregious examples, are almost always from Australia. For some reason, I don't know why. That could just be like happens to be what's most on the internet. But like the more egregious examples, like one that always stuck in my head was I think it was like Australia's NBC or something like that, was interviewing this like 15-year-old kid, and they were talking to him about World of Warcraft, and they were like, so you play with people online to defeat these giant bosses, and what they were talking about specifically was Molten Core back in vanilla. And he's like, yeah, they're my guildmates. And they're like, so you consider these guildmates your friends? And he's like, yeah. And then the news anchors were like, impossible. You know, it's like, have you never heard of pen pals? Have you, like, what is Facebook? I mean, Facebook I don't think was around back in 2004. I haven't ever used Facebook, so I wouldn't follow it, but I don't, nor do I care. But it's like, you know, all of these things are basically equivalent to that, you know. It's like, how come like video games can't, you know, friends in video games can't be friends in real life? But that's digressing a little bit from the actual subject. It's like Australia seems to be behind the times perpetually. At least some of Australia seems behind the times perpetually in terms of like video games and just like social issues. Because this one in particular, Outlast 2, I couldn't find it in the article itself, and I
dared not attempt to look it up because that would cause a lot of weird things to pop up. But apparently what caused controversy, which caused it to be banned by their version of like the ESRB, is that there is a cutscene that shows a lot of violence, and it's in context of like where you are in the game. I don't play Outlast or horror games in general, but this is what I'm getting from this, is like in the context of where you are, it's themed sexually, so it's like sexual violence, and they're like, that's a big no-no apparently, so it's like banned in Australia. Granted, you know damn well that Australians are going to play this if it's not already out. And this one senator, not even gonna bother pronouncing that name because this looks Swedish. He was basically like going against this like board of game classification, saying like this is really detrimental to like this big industry that could bring in a lot of revenue for the country. You know, it's like gaming is what, multi-billion-dollar industry nowadays. It's, you know,
yeah,
it has a lot of potential to bring in a lot of revenue for governments that tax it and whatnot, but they just outright banned this one. And the senator was basically saying like, you know, you can't stifle creativity like this and expect games to innovate in the way that you expect or the way that you'd want. Especially because the Outlast 1 and the demo for Outlast 2 were given a, what was it, R18 plus rating, which is like the highest rating they can give. Is like only adults can play it. I think it's like the equivalent of AO for the US. And
yeah,
it's like they just, instead of giving it, you know, that rating again, they're like, oh no, this one thing pushed it over the edge. It's now banned. It's like, why do you get to dictate like what adults, like literally adults, would? At least I'm pretty sure 18 is considered adult universally for the most part, unless it's like 21 in Australia. Regardless, though, it's like, you know, practically young adults. Even if they're not legally considered adults in Australia, they're mature enough to make their own decisions in that regard. It feels a little bit Big Brother-ish of like, oh no, you can't play that, we've decided.
Yeah, it's funny. There are a ton of games that have been, just like looking over, there have been a ton of games that have been banned or required some sort of massive overhaul due to Australia's really strict censorship laws. Yeah. Like Saints Row 4, State of Decay, South Park Stick of Truth, and Hotline Miami 2 was all out banned. And Hotline Miami 2, let us remind ourselves, is a top-down 2D game.
Yeah, like, it's like epilepsy inducing, but I don't think it, again, I don't play Hotline Miami 2, but for the same reason it supposedly visually depicts sexual violence. It's like, how much, like, I've at least seen gameplay of Hotline Miami 2, mostly from like Total Biscuit and sources such as that, but it's like, how does one vividly depict such an occurrence in Hotline Miami 2? Like, yeah. Someone who plays that game, please clarify. I would like to know, because I'm not going to search Hotline Miami 2 sexual violence scene.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something I want in my search history.
The developers must be, of Hotline Miami 2, must be an artists at their craft, due to their ability to get a 2D top-down pixel art game banned because it's too violent.
Yeah, right.
I will say something kind of funny that has come from the censorship laws is Left 4 Dead 2. Back when that came out, it is a very, like, bloody, gory game, and the Australian version had that entirely like taken out. No blood, no gore, nothing like that.
That was one of the complaints about
yeah,
that game.
And I've heard about people with like lower end computers actually searching that version out because it ran better.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that's actually a comment that someone left on my old Path of Exile review, is like, I really like this game, but I'm not a fan of the gore. Can you turn that off? And I was like, maybe? And then I actually went into the game and figured out you couldn't, but it was just funny, because I was like, huh. Also because I would turn down the requirements. Mostly just thinking of like the Malachi fight in that particular case, because that really needs less particles, let's be honest.
Yeah.
When I'm running like a beast of a machine, for the most part, like it's no like Titan whatever the hell freaking Total Biscuit has, but it's definitely a higher spec machine. And when I'm getting like 14 FPS on something, you know, you put too much.
Especially because like Path of Exile is supposed to be one of those games that's like free to play, pretty much anyone can run it.
For the most part, anyone can, minus like the hedge maze because of the fucking rain, which you also can't turn off, and Act 4, mostly in the Beast. Mostly Malachi, really. Even the Beast itself isn't that bad. It's just Malachi is like, let's make it rain blood, and you're like, please stop. Like, oh god. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's really nice to see this senator like speak up about this, because normally, like, you know, politicians wouldn't even bother, because it's like they alienate. Actually, I think that's something that this article specifically talked about towards the end. It was like usually they don't focus on such trivial matters. I mean, like, video games might not seem trivial to literally a podcast about gaming, but like compared to other things that politicians care about, you know, like economics and social issues, like this doesn't seem necessarily big, but it is nice to see that someone is actually standing up for it. And I'm sure that whoever develops Outlast 2, again, I don't follow them, is really appreciative of this. Granted, if they're already getting R18 plus ratings in Australia, I think they were somewhat expecting this. Because it seems like Australia is pretty bad at this whole video game thing. I mean, hell, what's the average? I think I saw a study of like the average internet connection being like a few megs per second tops in Australia. Like, it's really fucking slow. Like, up until a couple of years ago, it was like a couple hundred kills a second. It's like that's not very good. So they're already sort of SOL.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently he is 64 years old.
Yeah.
I am impressed, even more. Like, that's not something that you'd imagine someone his age, like, standing up for. And he does have a sound argument of, like, you're basically stifling your own income through, like, taxes and whatnot, or just, you know, having a little bit of pride for your country's, I don't know, arts appreciation, because you can make that argument all day, either or. But certainly some people consider video games art, myself included. But we won't get into that part too much, because that's sort of been dug into the dirt. One thing I'm curious about is like the footage that the article actually shows is like the first 16 minutes or whatever. It's IGN, so as you can imagine, they fail a few times. Your character is male, but like the way they describe the scene, let me try and find it. Description. This person, senator's description of the problematic event in Outlast 2 differs with that of the classification board, which explained in a report provided to IGN that, quote, while much of the contact between the creature and the player character is obscured by it taking place below screen, the sexualized surroundings and aggressive behavior of the creature suggests that it is an assault, which is sexual in nature. When combined with the player character's objections, the board found the sequence constituted a depiction of implied sexual violence.
which it's like, okay, just slap an AO rating on it and go, you know? It's like, it's sort of the argument of like, why are you letting your 12-year-old play Call of Duty? It's rated M, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, don't be that statistic. Like that statistic in particular. Especially because, and this is one of the counter arguments that the senator had against this rating, was that like this very board came up with a report like a few weeks prior saying that the average age of gamers in Australia is 33. So it's like, like, do you have such little faith in your population that people in their early 30s are not allowed to play this? Like, yes, fine. From the footage I did see, like, that would constitute maybe an M or possibly an AO rating in the US. I don't actually know what it is. Probably M. They're pretty rare that you get an AO game in the US. But like, you know, you don't need to ban it outright. That just, if you're trying to stop people from doing something, the worst thing you can do is ban it, because then they're going to want to, because then it's controversial. It's the big thing to do, and you know damn well that, you know, the 33-year-olds on average are just going to get a proxy server and, you know, buy it off of the UK Steam or the American Steam or whatever, you know, some other area in which they can just get it and play it. It's like they might not get it officially through the Australian servers, but there's really easy ways around that.
It's funny. Some part of my brain automatically assumed that all the bans are like physical copies, but apparently even Steam is like.
Yep. Yeah, Steam has to abide by such area restrictions. So if something is banned in, like, say, Germany, where games have to be heavily censored for stuff that includes, like, Nazi propaganda, you do have separate Steam versions. Or, like, China, I believe, has Steam, I think. Do they? Probably not. I don't know. That's something worth checking, but I really don't feel like checking it right now, because it's sort of inconsequential. But it's like, that sort of stuff does carry, and Steam does have to abide by those area rules, otherwise they can't do business, you know? So fair is fair. So in that regard, like, Valve will be following that if they continue to hold the ban, which hard to say, because like Hotline Miami is still banned, and that came out in like, what, 2015? But who knows? I don't know if anyone was fighting against that ban back then compared to now. You know, I don't know exactly how much influence this one senator has within the parliament. What does Australia have? Whatever they have.
Parliament sounds right.
I know they have a prime minister, because I could have sworn that was listed in like the beginning of the article. But either way, like, I'm sure he has some sort of sway in the government, obviously being a senator, but like, who knows how much. You know, it's like, if he's picking these kinds of seemingly trivial fights to fight, then who's to say he has very much influence at all? Again, I don't know. If you happen to be from Australia and know more about this situation, or like the inside of it, feel free. Like honestly, the comment sections for these videos, like, instead of a normal comment question, is just like, if you have any more context or any more expertise than us, which is possible, then feel free to share, because more information can only help in these sort of cases. And that's all I really have for this. Unfortunately, the rest of it's really just speculatory of like, will it get unbanned? Probably not.
Yeah.
So you want to move on to the rambling section, which I can imagine will be pretty short. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. Probably not. But magically, a couple of weeks after recovering from the previous head cold, which I was suffering from last podcast, my throat is a little bit dry and sore, meaning that I could possibly be getting another head cold. So if you don't see anything besides like Borderlands Let's Plays, which should be coming out, yeah, it should be started by the time this comes out. We're actually recording this on the 21st, which is the day Arisa comes out.
Oh yeah.
Have not played her yet. Still have to get around to that, which I'm probably just gonna like go into
what is it called? Target practice, target range, whatever.
Mm.
I usually get a good idea of characters from there. Like I correctly guessed how Blizzard wants us to play Sombra, like how they recommend we play Sombra. I guessed that just from like the first day she was out, and I just went to that and I was like, okay, I sort of see the flow here, and everyone else was playing her like Tracer, and it's like, you're so wrong.
Mm. Yeah, if you're going to compare it to TF2, you're Spy, not Scout.
Yeah. Yeah, actually pretty much. It's similar. It's sort of like you have the mobility of like Tracer, yes, but you don't have her damage, you don't have her escapes, really.
Mm.
I mean, like, you have the translocator, which is actually buffed, I believe, but that's not as much as Tracer's recall.
Yeah. Tracer, you can kind of play like flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
Sombra, you need to plan.
Yeah. Have you actually played Orisa? Like, I don't play PTR, I rather play, like, the finished product.
I have not gotten the chance.
Yeah. I know, I was watching my roommate play a little bit before, and it seemed interesting. She seems definitely like an anchor tank like Blizzard wanted, although I can imagine they wouldn't have released her if they couldn't make that goal. But she seems slightly more mobile because her shield is stationary, whereas she is not necessarily stationary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still have to test her out. I have yet to like really even play with her at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen people. This has been annoying me. I've seen people saying like, "Well, Reinhardt is obsolete now that Orisa is out." It's like, you do not understand Overwatch. You do not understand Reinhardt's defensive capabilities.
Yeah, actually, I think Reinhardt still has more defense, like just in sheer numbers.
Yeah.
Like, I think Orisa has a little bit more damage mitigation because she has that like slow walk ability where she takes a lot less damage. But I think Reinhardt overall with his shield is still the sponge.
Yeah. I think Orisa's shield has something like 800 health or some odd. Then Reinhardt just has 2,000.
Yeah.
Just right there wherever you go.
Yeah. Whereas Orisa, like I said, has to be planted. So, I don't know. I'm not particularly good with any tank, so I have my hopes up a little bit. I don't know. I'm mostly a support person. It's like either Zenyatta or Lucio, depending on the situation. In between those two, I can really just heal whatever I need. Like, occasionally if someone bitches, which is rare because I play quick play and no one gives a shit, I might play Mercy, but I'm not very good at her. I fucking suck at Ana. That's why I was happy about Sombra, because I couldn't fucking play Ana. Like, she came out and I was like, well, I can't use her at all. Like, I'm not good at snipers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good at Hanzo, but that's because I get right up in my opponent's faces. That has nothing to do with sniping. That's like close range tri-arrow.
Yeah. Get to the range at which the arrow's like hitbox gets really screwy.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't play Hanzo like a sniper. I think
basically like a much more mobile Roadhog range.
Kinda. Yeah. So, what have you been playing recently?
Mostly I have been on the BTR, but I haven't been like really playing Orisa. And the like new PTR is also out with the Lucio changes.
Oh yeah. That should be fun when that finally the fucking speed boost is great.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that because I'm a little bit of a Lucio main, like when I'm not
if
tanking.
People couldn't get that from the
Yeah.
I still love that video.
I was so happy when I was watching Overwatch highlights and that came on. I was like, yes! And I didn't even realize that that was the theme for the thumbnail for that episode, which is episode 16, I believe. I haven't watched it like since. I watched a few episodes afterwards, and it is funny, but I don't know. I watch other things on YouTube. It felt good, especially because they didn't edit out your laugh. Like I was worried they were just gonna like take the video and not the audio. And they took your laugh, and I was like, yes, it's perfect.
Can share it with the world.
Yeah.
At least the world that watched that video.
Well, that video itself had like 200,000 views in like 2 days, and your video had like 200 views. I think it still has about 300 views. Unless it like randomly took off.
Yeah. I mean, 200,000 is basically the population of the Earth.
God. Oh, man. When I get the free time, I gotta get back to Doom. That went on sale like half off, and I just had like a crap ton of Steam Wallet cash from Christmas. So I just bought that. Played the first half hour, was like, holy hell, my gamma's too low and my mouse sensitivity is too high. Spent the next half hour fixing that. Still not really fixed. Like the game though. I like how I don't know how much variety you can have in the gameplay so far, because like I've seen whenever I watch someone play, they're like super aggressive. It's usually people who actually play FPSs. But I've been like more tactical in my approach. Like I'll run around looking for the bigger minions or the ones that have like special attacks and kill them first and then go back to killing the zombies. I really appreciate that, at least on the easiest difficulty, because again I fucking suck at FPSs, the pistol that they give you in the beginning has infinite ammo. I really appreciate that. I need it. Like, one thing you'll see in the Borderlands, basically any shooter game, but especially the Borderlands one, because that's one's going to be recent as of this coming out. Should be coming out a little bit before. I think that's coming out the 22nd starting, and this is probably going to come out I don't know, sometime next week, so probably like 27, 28. I'm going home this weekend, so I can't edit. Either way, like, you'll see I fucking suck at aiming and shooting in general. That's why in Borderlands 1 I did the accuracy upgrades with Mordecai, because it's like, I need to hit stuff. I get the feeling like if I can, I'm just gonna max the living hell out of that pistol. So it's like going to the final boss, just like, here's my pistol with infinite ammo. Just spam mouse button into oblivion. Watch the health bar tick down slowly. Either way, I'm still doing better than fuck, who was it? Polygon, who like posted the first 15 minutes or whatever with it, like someone who was obviously not used to a controller.
Yeah.
Was it them, or was it like Kotaku or something? I don't know.
I think it was Polygon.
Yeah, I remember that was like the big thing for quite a while, and people were like mad. Somewhat rightfully so, because like you're not necessarily representing the game that well. It's like, I might be bad at FPSs, but I was better than that. At the very least, I was using keyboard and mouse. And other than that, I reinstalled Rocket League, which I didn't know I had uninstalled it. I must have done it a long time ago, because I did like a purge. Every now and then I'll do like a purge of my games, just like I need space. I say that, and then I download 66 gigs worth of Doom.
Yeah, so, that's not a small game.
Yeah, no, I was not. I knew it was a large game, but I didn't think it was going to be that large. I thought it was going to be like 30. You know, like a normal big game like World of Warcraft is like 24.
Oh, yeah, I just remembered. The new season for Rocket League is out tomorrow. The new competitive season.
I mean, that's another game I don't play competitive in.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Having a hell of a lot of fun in quick play though.
Yeah, I'm mainly just looking forward to it because I'll get my rewards from this season, which are like new rims for my car, and those are cool.
Oh my god, I've been getting those like literally at the end of every single game I've been playing, just because I'm like level 16. Like, I never really played that much, although I can imagine I'm going to start playing a lot more, especially because I want to start actually streaming on YouTube, not Twitch. I'm never motivated to stream on Twitch. Like, I just might abandon it because it's like, I'm never going to. Compared to streaming on YouTube, it's like, it's already on my channel. I don't know. I'll probably do experiments with Rocket League and maybe, I don't know, maybe Isaac, maybe Doom. I don't know. I'll probably be cautious to do it on like a game that I've not played entirely through yet, so I don't look that stupid. Because I plan on like saving the streams to the channel afterwards.
Yeah. Overwatch would probably get a lot of viewers.
Yeah. Well,
but you'd probably also get a lot of backseaters for that game.
Yeah. That's also one of my fears for Doom. It's like, oh, you're playing on the easiest mode? Why do you suck at aiming? It's like, have you, like, watch anything else from my channel? If you're here to see quality gameplay, you're in the wrong place. I'm a damn informational channel. Me playing games is just to laugh at me and say, hey, look at that dumbass. Except you can't call me a dumbass, only I can call me a dumbass. Self-deprecating humor.
Yeah.
Not deprecating humor. I don't know. That's all I really have. Do you have anything else you want to talk? Like anything interesting happen?
Not that I can think of.
I know, right? This month just fucking sucked. Plus, we did it like a week early because I'm like packed the rest of this semester, which is like hell. I'm going to fucking out of state with one of my clubs. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So it's like I really just need to get this like out earlier, or at least record it earlier. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, despite it being... actually, no, it's not that much shorter. It's only like 5 minutes shorter than usual. And if you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like it, maybe even subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Links for my social media and whatnot are in the description below. Be sure to check out my partner in crime, Sirjohnmac's channel. He posts something every now and then, and it's usually pretty entertaining, whatever it is. Got anything you'd like to say, John?
I realize why I'm not playing anything. My car caught fire, like... a little while ago, so that has been a whole thing, and I haven't been playing much.
Do you want to talk about that?
No.
Okay, we're just gonna leave it at your car caught fire. Cool.
Yes.
If we get any comments on this video, it's gonna be like, wait, what?
Nah, I'll leave it to the very end. No one's watching anyway.
All 12 views are from me. No, usually we get a decent amount of views of people like, what the fuck is a pixelated sheep? And then they never get that answered.
We never will.
Nope. Because we don't even know. That's the whole point of the series. We had to try and figure it out, but we're too busy getting sidetracked about video games.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I was in the outro. Anyways, that's all the time we've got for today. So until next time, don't die.